Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 235 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. The World Championships is now finished, so we'll discuss the final results. In the questions, we talk about playing practice games in the lead up to a tournament, bouncing on your toes, and backhand-oriented players. I'm Jeff Plump, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Morning, Jeff. And yes, it's been a big week in table tennis.
Yes, it certainly has. And I think we should get straight into the World Championships because that's what everyone's talking about, Alois. What happened in the finals?
Yeah, well, unsurprisingly, the Chinese team really dominated in both the men's and the women's, winning them both 3-love. So firstly, the men's, I suppose the interesting part was who was going to play, and we had that as our PingSkills question of the day a few days ago. So the men's Chinese lineup was Zhu Xin, Ma Long, and Zhang Jike. Got a Guernsey at number 3. So yeah, Zhang Jike played Yuya Oshima, the young guy from Japan, and won 3-1. That one game was the only game that China lost in the final. So it was a 3-zip overall result to China.
I know. I wonder if they reprimand him for that, losing a game. Oh my goodness! Maybe next time they'll put Fan Zhendong in.
Exactly. Poor Fan Zhendong. Yeah, but I got bigger fish to fry later in his career.
Indeed. And then the women?
Yep, women. 3-0 again, China over Japan. But this one a little bit closer. So Liu Shiwen first match beat Fukuhara pretty comfortably, 5-6 and 8. But then Li Jiajie struggling to overcome Ishikawa, going down 2-0. And I think Japan must have thought at that stage, wow, we're in this with a fight. Third game, 11-9 to Li Jiajie, and then 3-5. So Li Jiajie hitting her straps later on in that match. And then Ding Ning again, Mima Ito taking the first game 11-8, but then Ding Ning 7-8 and 11-1 to wrap up the title, and a 3-0 victory to Japan. But I think, the real story of this World Championships was earlier on in these rounds. There was some unbelievable table tennis, I suppose, especially by England. England making the semi-final, winning a bronze medal, which was absolutely unbelievable for the English team. Knocking over Poland in the first round, 3-2, then knocking over France, 3-2 in the quarterfinal. And that was an epic match, Jeff.
It certainly was. Wow. Went right down to the wire, didn't it? 2 games all, Japan and England. And then Paul Drinkel versus Leberson went down to the wire again this match, 2 games all. And then Drinkel led 10-6, 4 match points, only to lose 5 in a row and then have to save a match point himself before taking it 13-11, sending England through to the semi-finals. But I couldn't help but feel sorry for Leberson, who was just obviously distraught after the match, after fighting back and getting that match point, but just not being able to get the job done. What a match.
Yeah, some really exciting results, and right through the tournament there were so many 3-2 results and close matches, and I mean that's why I loved it, scoring up to 11. But that's another point. The other story I think was India's results in the second division. So. In second division, India winning in both the men's and the women's second division, which automatically promotes them to the championship division for the next World Championship. So, in the men's, again, India having some huge results. 3-1 over Hungary, then 3-2 over Nigeria, then 3-1 over Egypt, and in the final of Division 2, beating Brazil 3-2. And yeah, that's as I said, a huge result for India coming through the championship division in the men's. And then in the women's, again, the Indian team beat Puerto Rico 3-1, Serbia 3-2, and then in the final beating Luxembourg 3-1. So so India will be a very, very happy country today, knowing that their team has qualified for the championship division. And you know, on that, so England at the last championships qualified for the championship division this time and went all the way through to winning a bronze medal. So yeah, so big things happening in the table tennis world, but at the top, China way out ahead.
Absolutely. Nice wrap there. And it's still not too late if you haven't watched any of this to jump onto ITTV. Just go to the ITTF website at ittf.com. Click on the ITTV link and there's a list of all the matches there. Take a look. Fantastic table tennis. Great to watch. All right, Alois. Friday's PingSkills question of the day was, does progress happen in a straight line? What were people's thoughts?
Yeah, so let me just grab it up. Yeah, so Mentor said no, it's called the angle curve. Which is interesting. So on that curve, though, it seems like you never go backwards. I feel that sometimes we do go backwards and then sometimes we make big leaps forward. So Ilya said, I feel like large amounts of practice, especially of a new technique, bring my level down for some time. Then things click and I move up and then down and so on. Daniel Webster Hall said, of course not. If it did, then people would be national standard in no time at all. And Pankaj Kaira said, in a period of persistent effort, the skill improves initially, but halts. As sad as it sounds, but a proportional curve would give us a mile-long every other day. The bottom line comes down to the ability of a player to improve his potential while he still has time. Matt Massey has put up a little graph for us. I like it, Matt. He said, not for me, my first season hardly moved. So he's got his ranking profile and he's got a graph of it that he's put onto our Facebook page for us. And it shows us, so initially it was a pretty flat line and then it goes up and down and up and down. And it reminds me of, let me just grab it up. It reminds me of, I think it was Marston's comment on the blog. Let me just grab it up. No, it was actually Nigel, I think. No. Yes, Nigel. It was Nigel. So Nigel says that the improvement is actually like the stock exchange curve. So you're going up and down and up and down and up and down, but overall the trend is still upwards. So I really like that, Nigel. And if you look at Matt's curve on the Facebook page, you will see it looks exactly like a stock market curve. So have a look at that. And I suppose the big thing here is if you do have little dips in your progress, don't worry. I mean, it goes up and down, but eventually the line does look like that and there is improvement. And I also talk a little bit about this on my yesterday's Power of Practice video.
Yes, indeed. And it's interesting, Alois, because I think this applies across the board. I actually posted up a video by Felix Zemdegs, who some people might know is the world speed cubing champion. And he had a video on his thoughts on improvement. And it also talked about how it's not a linear fashion, but, there'll be ups as you go along, and it's all about practice. It's a really interesting video too. So if you haven't seen that, jump on our Facebook page and take a look. All righty. Let's just go on to today's PingSkills question of the day, which is, what was the outstanding performance of the World Teams Championships? So again, jump on our Facebook page, leave your answer, or onto the PingSkills blog at pingskills.com and let us know what was the outstanding performance of the World Teams Championships. All right. And that brings us to everyone's favorite segment, This Day in History. What happened on the 7th of March, Alois?
Yes, 1876. And this name seems to come up a lot, but Alexander Graham Bell patented the first telephone. So, yes, I think it was his birthday the other day. Was it his birthday the other day? I keep getting confused.
I don't remember Graham Bell's birthday, to be honest.
No, there you go. You haven't got that stuck in your mind. But also a couple of other birthdays of Australian table tennis players, including Aidan Johnston from Perth. So happy birthday, Aidan.
Happy birthday, Aidan. Excellent. All right. So, yeah, we had Graham Bell inventing the first usable telephone, and now on the 7th of March, he patented it.
Yeah, that's what it was. So there you go.
Great. All right. Now, Alois, let's talk about our Power of Practice challenge. This is where we take a skill, either the table tapper, bouncing the ball on the side of the table, or the spin catcher, where you spin the ball up and then have to catch it on your racket, all inspired by Marcus Freitas. If you haven't seen that, check out Marcus Freitas' video. And we've got a competition running where you have to practice this for 5 minutes a day, film yourself and send us some videos every now and again, using the hashtag Power of Practice. And you could win one of 3 premium memberships. We've got a yearly, a quarterly, and a monthly on offer. And we've had questions. Is it too late to start? Certainly not. Get involved during March. Make sure you film your first session. It's great to then look back at the progress, and start learning one of these skills for your chance to win. And it's just a fun thing to do, isn't it, Alois?
Oh, yeah, it has been fun. And yeah, so some people have said, well, what's the purpose? The purpose isn't really to be able to do a table tapper that well. I think it's more about learning how to learn and just starting to think about the principles of how you learn a skill. So yeah, definitely get involved, guys. And really impressed to see a lot of the videos so far from our PingSkillers. Daniel Roberts, who's been on there right from the start, and he's been struggling away, but starting to see some really good progress. Daniel. Also a speed cuber, speaking of old Felix Zemdegs, and Jeff, Daniel's best time was 20 seconds for the cube. And
that's pretty good.
And I think his best average was about 30 seconds, but he said he hasn't done it for a while. So, maybe you and Daniel need to face off in some speed cubing as well.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, it has been very interesting for me as well. The progress of the spin catcher. So just to explain what the spin catcher is, so you spin the ball up with backspin, and then you've got to catch the ball like that. So
you're clearly not confident enough to actually demonstrate that live yet, Alois.
No, because it would be violating my 5 minutes of practice a day. That's the only reason, Jeff.
Okay, gotcha. But you seem to be making some good progress on certain days.
Yeah, and the stock market curve is really relevant. So mine initially from day 1 to day 2 was like that, my progress. But then after that, I've definitely had the little ups and downs. But if I look at day 1's video and look at where I am now, there is definitely progress. Like even yesterday, I felt, I wasn't that great. But if you compare it to day 1, then it is a lot of progress. So yeah, I think we've always got to keep that in mind, don't we? There will be those little dips and peaks with your progress.
Yes. Now, Alois, I think my skill, I do think it is a little bit easier, the table tapper. That's the one I'm doing. But I've noticed some of our PingSkillers trying it have a much skinnier edge than I do, which obviously makes it a lot harder for them. But great job, everyone, working on those with the smaller edges. I found I found I improved really quickly, Alois, and then I actually missed a day. And when I practiced yesterday, my first like 3 or 4 rallies were just terrible again. I was missing the edge and stuff. But then when I got focused, I started getting back into it, and the skill came back pretty quickly. But then I tried to switch over to use one forehand and one backhand, and I couldn't really do 2 in a row. And I thought, oh, it's the switching that's hard. But then it was like a minute to go, and I started trying to practice doing the table tapper with my backhand because I've been doing it with my forehand. And I was really hopeless, could not get any on in a row. So I think today I might work on trying to improve the backhand on the table tapper. Really difficult. You would have thought it would have been quite easy, but switching over, like starting again, or maybe even worse.
Yeah, so you've set yourself a bit of a challenge too with the table tapper to try and get a rally of 5 minutes. I think that's, that's pretty tough, but, if you don't aim high, you're not going to reach high. So, so good luck with that, Jeff. And it really is interesting to see the progress of different PingSkillers. So get on there, and you don't have to film every single session. If you can film the first one, that'd be great, because then you've got a real reminder of where you started. And then just every now and then you can film some, or even just film one at the end, send it through, upload it to our Facebook page, and you're in the competition. Bang. Power of practice.
Absolutely, yes. You can upload it to our Facebook page, or if you've got a YouTube account, upload it there. Use the hashtag Power of Practice and let us know about the video, or even on Instagram. Do some short videos. Great. All right, Alois, it is time for the questions. Are you ready? You've had the weekend to get ready for these questions?
I've been busy on ITTV, Jeff. But
absolutely.
I'm ready.
All right. Now, first up, Mike D has jumped on using the Google Q&A app and asked a question live on the show. He says, "Hi, guys. I'll be playing in a tournament next month. I play twice a week at the club, and sometimes I use practice games to work on my strokes or try different shots. When I do this, I tend to lose more. So should I continue this practice, or should I focus more on winning?"
Yeah, so it always depends on how important the tournament is as well, Mike. But if let's assume that it is an important tournament for you and you're looking for some good results, it's important now to start to focus more on the things that are going to win you points, because we need to focus on how to structure your rallies, how to win the points. And we always then talk about those first couple of balls in the rally. Practice your serving, your return of serve, your third ball, your fourth ball, those sort of drills now become important, because that's what's going to win you points in the match. Also focus on your strengths. So, how do you win points? Work out how you win points and try to practice that combination a lot, so that it's really strong in your mind and it's really you have the touch, like as Jeff said with his table tapper. So when he's doing that every day, he's starting to get better. And that's his strength. If he then started practicing his backhand table tapper, coming up to a tournament today, then it's not really relevant. He needs to practice the thing that's going to win him points, and that's the forehand table tapper. So, so focus on your strengths now over the next little while until the tournament. Focus on third ball, focus on serving, return, those sort of early shots in the rally as well. In the back of your mind, you will always have, the things the technical things that you're working on as well. But yeah, let's now focus on how you're going to win points.
Excellent answer there. Yeah, so Mike, focus more on winning when you're coming up to that tournament. They're the strokes you're going to be using in a match. The newer strokes that you're losing, that you're working on, if they're not quite ready, you're not going to use them in a pressure situation. So focus on them after the tournament. All right, next up is a question from Ilya, who says, I've just watched a match of Peter Corbell against Patrick Francisca. I noticed that Peter often intensely bounces on his toes while Francisca tosses the ball and serves. Why is he doing that?
Yeah. Something that's become relevant over the last month, I suppose, for me, or the last few months, I've been really trying to focus on this with a few players. It really gets you moving, and it starts that momentum in the rally. So if you're very flat and stable to start off with, then it's hard to start. It's like a rolling car. You know, if you're rolling up to the lights, it's much easier to then accelerate and move forward than if you're at a complete standstill and then trying to accelerate. So by just being moving, by just getting the toes bouncing a little bit, it does become a little bit easier to then move to that next ball. And also this is relevant in between shots. So after you're playing a shot, if you watch the top players, there's always constant movement of a little bouncing. It's like shock absorbers. So both feet just bouncing like that and ready to move for the next ball. If you play a shot and bang, you're still, then again, it's the stationary car. You've got to accelerate and start again. So have those shock absorbers moving, have the car revving all the time, and then it'll be easier to take off.
Yeah, interesting analogy there. Now, is it like, I think there's different styles of returning, but I think most people at the top level seem to be moving slightly, as you said. But some people are like bouncing up and down on their toes the whole time and they look really fast. And then others kind of seem to wait just before someone hits it and take kind of a little jump just as the contact happens.
Yeah.
Is the method preferable?
No, it's what you feel comfortable with. Yeah, you see the Chinese now players, a lot of them will be in their ready position, and then as the ball's going up, they'll be jumping or moving, and they're almost moving to that, the backhand side spin flick position straight away. So there's that little bit of movement straight away, and then once they're in movement, then the next ball's easy as well. So even if someone serves deep to the backhand, they're ready, they're moving, and they're ready to jump back into that position as well. So yeah, just get some movement happening.
Yeah, I don't know about other people, but for me, I found like if you're trying to move too much, it kind of, you're focusing too much on that and getting your feet movement, and it's hard to watch the ball. I always found it much easier to kind of just do a little jump just before they hit it when you're returning serve, rather than that constant moving.
Yes. Some people do the little, basketball shuffle, before the server. Yeah, I don't think that's as relevant, but it definitely works for some players. They like that that movement. But yeah, for me, I do a little bit what you do, Jeff. Just that little motion as the other person's serving.
Excellent. All right. Great question, Ilya, and good to see you watching top level table tennis. Great way to improve and just enjoy the sport. All right. Next up is a question from Leonardo, who says, is an aggressive backhand style considered an effective style at higher levels of play?
Yeah, more and more it is now, Leonardo. So, in the 70s and 80s, no. Players basically played all their strong shots with their forehand, but now the backhand is becoming more and more relevant. The line between the backhand and forehand changeover has really moved. It used to be over here where people played forehand on this part of the table. Now that line's moved and players play forehand there and then backhand here. And for some players, it's even moved all the way over here. So they're playing backhands on more than half the table. So yes, it definitely is relevant. On the return of serve, players are playing backhand on almost 100% of the table. So it's just there and playing a backhand return from all over the place. So yeah, backhand is very relevant, and it's been mainly because players are utilizing their wrist so much more on the backhand side than on the forehand, and the wrist is quick So it's easier to use the wrist quickly on the backhand than on the forehand to generate the speed off it with a short amount of time and off a short backswing.
Yeah, interesting to see the changes. Even back from the table now, people are counter looping with their backhand side. Saw on Instagram some great rallies by Liam Pitchford back from the table, hitting great backhands. Yeah, so I mean, in all aspects of the game, it is becoming a lot more powerful and a lot more used. Yeah, the backhand side.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen Liam Pitchford of England play at the World Championships, get onto it. Yeah, his backhand is so smooth, as Jeff said, especially back from the table. He's just there and he's just ripping his backhand. I remember seeing Pitchford at the World Championships in Moscow, and he was pretty young then. I just saw this young kid, and I remember talking to Alan Cook, the coach, and talking about him, and he was pretty excited then about the prospects of Liam Pitchford. But now I'm sure he's very, very excited about Pitchford and the English team winning that bronze medal.
Absolutely. All right, Alois, that wraps up show 235. Thanks, everyone, for watching the show and for getting questions in. I love answering your questions and talking about table tennis. Hope you have a great week. I want you all to get involved in the Power of Practice Challenge. So pick a skill, the table tapper or the spin catcher, and get started. And for those of you who are already doing it, keep going, keep improving. And lastly, a big thank you to you, Alois.
Thanks, Jeff. And yes, good luck with your table tapper today. I'll be heading out shortly to do my spin catcher. And let's see where I am on that little stock market graph today.
Indeed. See you, everyone. Happy table tennis.